Have you ever been victimized by New Age spirituality?
We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting.
You're going to want to listen up.
I'm Megan, an intuitive life coach and Reiki master.
I'm Ryan, a professional astrologer, and we want to show you what spirituality is by talking about what it is not.
Con artist.
Yes.
Snake oil salesman.
There are so many susceptible people out there.
And then they're tainted. They're ruined. They don't want to come back to spirituality.
We still have a lot to learn, and we will humble ourselves and learn, I think, every freaking day. This is Clairannoyance,
a podcast of spiritual interference.
Welcome back to our multi-part toxic positivity series. If you missed parts 1 and 2, please go back and visit them. But now we are moving straight into part 3, which is really an extension of part 2 we recorded for so long. So we just decided, let's just like split these into 2 different episodes, give the people a little bathroom break in between. So I hope you relieved yourself. And now, without further ado, part 3. I know we're like kind of going a little long here. There's just a couple things I want to say that are like basically the 2 exercises. Like there's 2 like
give them
cool
to me.
little things I want to say real quick, but then let's like, I want to finish on the exercises.
Okay.
If that's cool.
It's
Because I know you'll like kill it with that. One just like interesting thing is there's this neuroscientist I referenced before, like in the first one. Her name is Dr. Tara Swart. You can look her up on Instagram. She's got tons of good content and just like all sorts of things out there. But I save a lot of her posts, and like one of them literally says like laughter is the best medicine. Like I just love this. But and not only like the picture says laughter triggers healthy physical changes in our body, it strengthens the immune system, boosts energy, diminishes pain, and protects us from damaging effects of stress. But here's the cool thing in her caption. She said, you know, there's nothing like a belly laugh with friends and loved ones, even if you're alone. Try to laugh every day. And then she says, a neuroscientist, if you're struggling to see the funny side of things, try a laughter yoga session. Forced laughter has the same effect.
Yep, because your brain don't know. Your brain don't know.
And that is like a big one to me. Like I know as much as like the whole like suppressing emotions is kind of what defines toxic positivity. I also think a lot of people think that who think toxic positivity is bad. I think that's the other one. It's like if you're forcing negative emotions, not just suppressing or not just suppressing negative, but if you're forcing positive emotions, they think that's toxic. You shouldn't force yourself to be happy. Why force myself to smile? Why force myself to laugh? Because it's got the same effects.
Because your brain doesn't know. I just did that at the retreat this past weekend. I open up with, I like to get people out of their comfort zone. So, you know, I had these 13 women. I was like, all right, for a minute, we're going to fake laugh. And so I just started, ha, 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 ha. And then, you know, like it's weird. You feel ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then eventually you started to giggle because these fake laughs of 13 people, you know, like you can't help but to start to giggle. And it worked.
It's so important. There's plenty of research about the whole, like, you know, forcing yourself to smile and that literally making people happier. There's what do they call it? Power poses or whatever, like to increase your confidence. Like
Mel Robbins has the high five challenge where you high five the mirror. You think about it, a high five for a second. I love this. There is no negative connotation with a high five. Starting with a baby, when someone gives you a high five, you're not like, oh, fuck that. It's like, yes, I see you. Great job. Keep going. And so start high fiving people and high five the mirror. And she did this exercise and then got into the brain development as well in the studies. It's incredible. So high five the mirror.
It is.
Smile and high five the mirror and tell yourself you're a gosh darn winner because you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think like similar, like the loving kindness meditation, like I don't do it as often as I should. And like the fact that this has shown up, it makes me, I'm going to implement this into like a routine, but like, especially, and I'll do it for like all sorts of people. But like, I think I typically would employ this when I was, I guess, holding a grudge, right? Or like, I would like, maybe somebody did something to me and I felt like a resentment or something, and I didn't want to carry that. So I really would like force good thoughts their way, like as best as I could, you know. It wasn't like wishing like them to be a millionaire or whatever.
It's funny because in my personal life, I'm thinking as we've been talking, like I really don't hold grudges in my personal life, but I'm so fiercely protective of the people that I love. So for instance, like someone does you dirty, I'm like, well, let's go. So that's something that I could work on, because in my personal life, if you hurt me, I'm like, listen, I get it. but I can't stand to see my loved ones hurt. So then I'm like, well, this is my battle now too. And it's like, so that's something that I could work on with this.
Yeah. I absolutely think so. And I don't know, I've noticed like the benefits of the loving kindness stuff. Like truly, it really does help. It's like I notice a greater peace of mind in me, right? Like, and it's forced though. It's like this person screwed me over. They don't deserve my forgiveness or like whatever. Like
But it's for
I have every
you.
right to be mad. Exactly.
It's for
Exactly.
you.
It's for,
It's not
and
for
that's what
them.
it means. And exactly. And that's what it means to take personal responsibility, right? Like people think that
Mm-hmm.
it's always like, almost victim blaming. Like, yes, many people would have called me like a victim in a certain situation, right? Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I will never wear that badge. I will
No.
send these motherfuckers some positive love because I don't want it for me. I will
Mm-hmm.
take that responsibility on myself. I wish I didn't have to, but this
Mm-hmm.
is a thing that happened. And
Yeah.
now I'm gonna do whatever I can to improve my well-being from the situation that
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. Call me toxically positive, or whatever.
I ain't
Okay,
calling
the
you
other
TP.
I ain't calling you TV.
I ain't calling you
No,
TP.
I'm gonna like wear that. Like, I really want to make us t-shirts that
Call me
just like have
TP.
TP on them. Anyway, there's this other interesting little side note that actually was one of like the first things I found,
Mm-hmm.
and randomly stumbled across it. Pronoia, which is a like psychology term, basically. This is so fascinating to me. I had never heard of it. But it's basically the opposite of paranoia, right? Paranoia would be like a
Mm-hmm.
negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
um, so whereas a person suffering from paranoia feels that persons or entities are conspiring against them, a person experiencing pronoia feels that the world around them conspires to do them good. What a beautiful,
Oh,
what a beautiful thing.
I
It is
love
the
that. Because I have a dominant
electric.
affirmation that like everything's always working out for me. And
Yeah,
you know, like so I am so pro Noia. Yes.
that's my dominant affirmation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know I'm but it's funny too because like I literally just read that off of the Wikipedia page, but I love it because like some guy I guess is also quoted here saying he defined it as the suspicion that the universe is a conspiracy on your behalf. I
Of
love
course
just
it is.
those three words, on my behalf.
Of course it
On my
is.
behalf, even.
Of
I
course
know
it is.
it's a beautiful thing, and
Yeah.
it's just, I didn't know that there was ever a word for it, but it's also like interesting to see like some of the. I only looked at a couple things, but there were a couple like examples of where like people, this is a debated subject as well. It's actually very like underutilized. There's not a ton of references in modern culture about this, but I maybe it's gonna start picking up or something just since
I
I
hope so.
stumbled
I
across
love
it.
that.
But
Pro
yeah, but then
Noia.
like some people like because there's kind of like a funny use of a negative one. Hold on, where did the okay, so there's this guy like Trump like asserted that like people like British people really loved him or something. Like this is like when he was president, I think.
Yeah.
And so some guy, I don't know, he's like an important person. I don't know.
Diplomat.
Somebody across the pond. But anyway, this guy named John Cleese
Uh-huh.
said my American went viral for this. He said my American friends are asking me about President Trump's observation that the British like him. I regret this is quite unfounded. The explanation for this canard, is that how you pronounce that? Canard? Canard?
How's
I
it
feel like, is
spelled?
it canard? Canard.
I would say, yeah, I always like to make things more fancy and like drawn. Canard. Canard.
Canard.
Canard.
I think it is canard. I just never used that word. Well, British people.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said the explanation for this canard is that Trump is pronoid. Like Trump literally is like that delusional. So I know that like pronoia then at that point could go into
Mm-hmm.
this like kind of toxic positivity end, which was Trump trying to like lie to the world that the British love him. Like
I
obviously
mean, I
no,
think,
like
yeah, I
that's
mean, he was, and listen, I do not like that man. But one thing we can take from him is he was delusional enough in his mindset to believe that he could be. But
yeah.
it's the power of believing in yourself, and we can take you
Mm-hmm.
can always take a lesson from that. I mean, and that's about the nicest thing I have to say about that.
I will always look on the bright side of things, and there are a couple things I actually will credit him for. And it's just on a personal end where it's like just like logistically, my life did improve in like two very weirdly specific ways because of things he did. I don't want to even get into it though. I won't even get
Hmm.
into it. I'm not going to go
Hmm.
now because ultimately that's just going to breed some negativity here.
Yeah. And to that point, too, I live in Charleston, so I live in a very Republican state, a red state. But Republicans have a certain viewpoint and image, and then Democrats have a certain viewpoint and image. But Republicans as a whole, like the ones that I come across, they're warm and kind and welcoming, and Democrats are mean as shit. And I'm a Democrat, but it's like you know, so it's interesting.
No, that's been picking up, and this is a theme I was honest to God talking about in like astrology sessions like a few years ago,
Yeah.
where I was like, there's just this like tide shift occurring right now where it's like people who are more open-minded and whatever, like liberal, quote unquote,
Mhm.
are actually becoming more dogmatic and like rigid
Yes.
in their thinking, and conservatives are actually like weirdly opening up. And so like I was trying to basically use it to tell like my liberal friends to be like please like stay
But
open-minded and be
you can't
embracing and
even
welcoming and all this stuff. Like
mhm,
don't the cancel culture was the exact opposite of the manifestation that I
110%.
wanted. Like it was not good, and it makes the bad conservatives like group together more, and then they're not going to open up because we're reinforcing like negative opinions that they already have or whatever. As they're opening themselves up, we need to like be there, like provide that space for them to explore and be wrong as they're figuring things out and
You're
whatever
going to
they
make
like.
mistakes, and that's the thing too, is that people are afraid to put themselves out there, and we're not getting great candidates for officers or for anything because of you flashed your Hooters at Bike Week in Daytona, in '99, and now that's going to ruin your chance at a presidential campaign or to get a job. It's too much. People are going to make mistakes, and there's not everybody can do better in this realm.
Everybody can do better, and I forget what like the source of this was. I'm sure I'm really good at like finding things retroactively, but I know that this is a thing, and I can't remember the exact issue. It was either gay rights or abortion, but it was that was just one example of like a larger issue of this that
Mhm.
I thought was really interesting. Is that the issues on the conservative side, especially, like down with gays and like no abortion and all that
Yeah.
stuff, actually wasn't a like historical conservative issue. It was an issue that politicians took on and basically funneled and said this
Well, and
will
that's
be.
because the evangelicals got it. I mean,
Yeah,
so one of my
yeah, it was
clients,
religious. Yeah,
and also I'd love to have her on, Andra. She grew up. We'll get into that later, but God, it's fascinating.
yeah, like I think there's some really interesting stuff there because
Yeah,
I'm just saying it because like my family's quite conservative. Hi mom, if you're still listening to this, I don't
I
know.
hope you are.
um uh,
I hope
uh,
you are. And by the way,
Here's
me
the
dry.
buzzword. What's the buzzword?
Oh, let's see. Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie. If you
I
made it this
love.
far, pumpkin pie.
I'm in prep. I'm
Why is it
prepping
all
for
food?
because I'm prepping for a fitness competition, and
Oh,
so all these. So you put me on the spot. I'm gonna be like, oh, what kind of food do I want today? And side note, with me mentioning Andra, she's totally cool with it 'cause she's very vocal and she's a New York Times bestseller. Shout out, go buy her books. So she's dope
love
too.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would never
Well,
be
and
dropping
I don't
people's
know.
names just haphazardly. Um, but anyway, so yeah,
No, I think yeah, that's interesting. I will like because my family is quite conservative, especially the extended family,
yeah.
on whatever. I won't, but they honestly have been like fairly open, like for the most part. Like it's just like they're not these like gay hating people, like there was definitely like times growing up where I was like, I don't know what they think and if
Yeah.
this is safe and whatever. So I mean, like a lot of time,
I
but
think
like
most of the time people
I
are
know that
good
they're
people.
fine.
Yeah, like I think like most of the time it's when you encounter someone who's different than you, as long as there's that respect. I think that the media creates a lot of chaos, duh, on
Totally.
purpose.
Yeah. I will say though, when I visited Charleston, it was the first time in a long time. I think there were only two instances that I
Uh-huh.
can at least recall, but like where, and I just like didn't chose to not bring attention to it or whatever. But I was like with my cousin both times, and hi Shauna,
Yeah, we love you. Yeah,
if you're um
she listens.
where like there were like old guys like with their wives, and they were just giving me that like stare. They're just looking at me, and I'm like, I haven't. experienced that in a long time where I'm like, is it real? I mean, you got one gay bar in Charleston. That's it. Is it really that uncommon for somebody to be
No.
like, I'm like, look at all these straight guys around here wearing their like pink pastel, like what the, yeah, I'm like, all them look way gayer than me. So like, why are you looking at me, sir? I'm like, look, what are you
Well,
doing
and
here?
maybe he just was gazing at all youth like that because he was
I don't maybe, but it
the
was just the
hunch. Well,
stare. You just
not
kind
to
of know that
disvalidate you. Yeah, that's
stare.
true. Like
No,
I said.
no. I don't, yeah, I'm not taking it that way. But like, I don't know. I just hadn't
Well,
felt
we
that
are,
in a long.
Charleston it's a progressive city, but we are in the South and we got work
Yeah, it's
to
the
do.
South.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
East
sure, for
South.
sure. Okay, so I think like oh, I said I was gonna come back to the word catastrophizing. I'm just gonna run through like a couple really quick things and then jump straight to these like two little exercises.
Yeah.
Like just identifying negative thinking is something that's recommended if you want to move into a more positive mindset in general. If you don't want to move into a more positive mindset, you at least need to start being conscious of the negative thinking and start questioning it. Healthy skepticism. Why not?
Yep.
You know, I'll ask myself, why am I thinking so positively about
Yeah,
things
where did this
sometimes?
come from?
Like whatever. Yeah, it's just interesting, right? You're expanding your consciousness. Anyway, like catastrophizing was one of those words that I said. So that is like one of those patterns of negative thinking that people can get in that you want to, identify at minimum. Where it says you automatically anticipate the worst without facts that the worst will happen. The drive-through coffee shop gets your order wrong. And then you think that the rest of your day is going to be a disaster.
Yeah,
Like this
absolutely
must be
shit.
setting off everything. That's
My
catastrophizing.
day started out rough and it just kept going from there.
Filtering, which is literally where you're just filtering out the positive thoughts, which is funny because that's what we were also just kind of talking about, which is like maybe conscious, maybe unconscious, who knows? But like try to become conscious of that when you're purposefully filtering out positive things, right? Personalizing, basically stop taking everything personal. Not everything's about you. Like, why are we doing that? That's ego.
100. Well, and it's because we're the main character in our show, but you're not the main character in other people's shows. So relax.
I never will be.
Exactly.
You never
9
will
times
be.
out of 10, when you start giving people grace and being like that old fella that was looking at you, maybe he was more on the gay spectrum and mad that he was with Gertrude.
Yeah, he might have just been resentful for sure. Damn straight. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Right. I'll entertain that thought. Like, why not? No harm done. To think more positively about that situation that made me feel uncomfortable. No harm done. Like, what is it to me to give that grace? What? Look at me just doing that right there. It's that simple. We just caught that negative thought that I had just said before. Now we've just 1 minute
we
later
did a
spun that
flippery
shit around.
steal again.
And that is like the second time now that we've done this, and for me, and this. What am I doing for you, Megan? What am I doing for you? No, I'm kidding.
You do a lot for me, baby.
Blaming people. Notice when you're blaming people, right? Important. Saying this is an interesting one because I think a lot of people do this, and probably a harder one to become conscious of. But saying you should.
Oh, coulda, woulda, shoulda needs to leave because I shoulda. I mean, it's a guilt trap. Get out of here with that. We don't do that around here.
Magnifying, just making a bigger deal out of things like minor problems, different than catastrophizing, I guess, because whatever. Perfectionism, it doesn't exist. Stop trying. Don't strive for it. It doesn't exist. Polarizing, which is also, I think, an important one of like just viewing the world as good, bad, black, white. There's no middle ground, no gray area.
It's all gray.
Which to me is really cool because you can relate that astrologically, where it's like polarization is like duality, right? Masculine, feminine energy. The people who think in terms of good, bad, black, white, it's the masculine energy. It's the feminine energy that's going to see the world more like poetic, abstract, conceptual. They're going to be more nuanced with like all the layers of life, right? The subtext to things, and that's feminine. And we're obviously in this toxic masculinity culture. The patriarchy runs the world, and all this shit, right? We're trying to increase the feminine right now. This is in many ways. So yeah, get rid of the polarizing thoughts. When do you think that? I know I probably still have that too, where I do think on one end of I can't even think of a reason, but like I'm sure that's one of the things I do. I don't know. So I'll try and be more positive or conscious of that. There's a couple things here I'm just going to skip over that I don't really care about. How to focus more on positive thinking. if you want to. And then I'm going to literally right after this, we're going to move into our ending here where Megan's going to demonstrate a couple things.
I'm not
I
even
love
looking
it,
at the notes right now, too. So it's going to be a blind
I know you're going to, yeah,
reaction.
good, good. You're going to do so well at it. You're going to kill it. If you want to enhance the positive thinking, focus on areas to change, which to me is basically just saying, all right, well, first pay attention to the negative stuff.
Yeah, you got to be aware of what, where can I improve? Where can I improve?
Check yourself, which I think is actually really smart. Like literally like stopping during the day and evaluating your thinking. Like what's that patterning like? Like set an alarm. Set an alarm. So like literally every day the alarm goes off and it just says mood. Like, what's your mood? What are you thinking? How was the day so far? Or just keep the gratitude journal right at the end of the day or whatever.
Oh, I love that because I have people set alarms for their affirmations so they remember to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So then to have like a mood go off, like no work is to be done at noon. How is your mood though, or whatever your halfway mark is for the day?
Be open to humor. Come on.
Oh my
Easy
God,
stuff.
yeah.
Lightens the load of so many things. Again, the self-deprecating humor, maybe we got to be a little careful of that stuff. Like it can be harsh. It can be really funny. Like, but again, I think you just gotta like have healed a whole lot there. Follow a healthy lifestyle. I know goes without saying much like
If your body isn't healthy, I mean, if you're in pain constantly, it's just my body, soul, it goes together. Y'all have got, that's why I became a personal trainer, is that we're working on your soul, but your body's in disarray. You don't have to be training for a competition like I am, but like go for a walk, eat a vegetable, drink some water, sleep.
right. And I know that we're talking quite practically here, but if you have wrote it out this long right now in this podcast, you're here because you're a spiritual person, right? So it's not also just that practical and physical in many ways. Like you believe in spirituality, you believe that there's a soul in your body, right? If you believe that, then you must also know that that soul goes back to some eternal form, energy, or whatever, right? But then why, in the first place, did it decide to come into a body? Why is the 3D realm here
You
even
have
in
a
existence?
purpose.
Hard matter. Hard matter. We chose to be in the physical matter form. Accept that. Accept that. Love that. Learn to love it. Like I hate exercising. I hate it so much. Like, and like whatever. I have to have fun with it. It's more of like an astrological thing. I had to like learn how do I like it. But like you always notice the positive effects, even when I'm in the shittiest goddamn mood. Like if I
Those
really
endorphins are
can perk
flowing.
myself up there. It's nuts. It's you always notice it after, and you're like,
you never regret a workout. You're never like, you know
never
what?
really do.
That was what a bad idea. What a terrible idea.
Okay, so there's the healthy lifestyle. Surround yourself with positive people. Are the people we surround that matters? I'm sorry, that just matters. Look
Tell
around
me
you.
who
If
your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Your success. That's my dad used to say that all the time, and I was like, whatever. And his grandmother used to say it, but it's so true. And your success and who you are is directly reflected by the 5 people you hang out with, by your inner circle.
You are your 5 people.
Your people should be hyping you. If they're not,
This even says supportive people, you can depend on for advice and feedback. If you have negative people, then it's going to literally increase stress in your life. It increases doubt, and makes you less likely to be basically like a healthy person. And I also think it's important, like as such an air sign person, Gemini. I find this stuff interesting because again, it's sort of like perception, right? Like and the information you're taking in, why they say like get like well versed in like a range of news outlets, why the real toxic conservative people only watch Fox News. They just search, they go for the confirmation bias of like, what do I already believe? And let me feed myself more and more and more and more of that instead of staying open-minded and whatever. Like those people directly impact the views that you hold on life. You want to be around people that literally you can look up to. Again, they're not on a pedestal, but there's this respect.
And I also like to be around people who have like, tell me why you think that. Like, what's up?
Challenge me a bit.
Yeah, like tell me why you think that. Like let's have an honest conversation about it. I realized that when I was starting to villainize people based on, my Democrat views, and I was like, whoa, this is the nicest lady ever, and I'm upset with them because they're a Republican. Like that is not cool, Megan. And so I had to readjust quickly because I wasn't going down that road.
Final one there is just, practice positive self-talk, which like goes into many things, and I'm not even gonna actually go there because we're actually gonna this has to do with our 2 exercises. So let's just jump to the first one. This
All
first one,
right.
like, I don't know how it'll go, but I feel like it's a good idea.
Okay.
There's this little chart here that I found that basically is like, how do you literally turn something negative into a positive? So I'm gonna give you a few examples, but I just feel like, these are like standard, like textbook, like kind of
Uh-huh.
clinical examples.
Uh-huh.
And then I want you to like have some that you feel like, because you've already said like a couple
Yeah.
in this episode. So I just liked that. I like
Mm-hmm.
so good. So like, I've never done it before. That's negative. Turn it into, it's an opportunity to learn something new,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yep.
too complicated. I'll tackle it from a different angle. Like, okay. I don't have the resources. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm too lazy to get this done. I say that one a lot, but I'm not lazy, as you
You're
goddamn
not
know.
lazy at all, so that's
Jesus
hilarious.
Christ. Someone put me to bed, but I do say it a lot. I'm like, I guess it's the motivation thing. It's not that I'm lazy, it's the motivation. It's like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to. Okay. Uh, I couldn't fit it into my schedule, but I can re-examine some priorities.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, well, instead of saying like I can't do it, it's like, well, that's not a priority. And when you say, oh, like, oh, that's not a priority, it's like, oh, I need to reevaluate it.
And I think that one's actually really dope because what a good example of how that is not toxic. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me that's toxic. If your actual negative thought was, I am too lazy to get this done, the positive version of that, I couldn't fit it into my schedule, still holds the room to allow you to like not push yourself, not force yourself if you don't want to, not whatever. It allows you that while still finding the
How
positive
can
spin
I
on
put
it.
that in my
Yes.
schedule?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can re-examine some priorities,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
today it's not happening.
Yeah.
It still lets you accept that, whatever.
I'm gonna try
I
again
think that's so
tomorrow.
beautiful.
I'm gonna
I think
try
that's
again.
so
I'm
beautiful.
gonna try again tomorrow.
Exactly.
Good news.
Yes. Yes. And if you can turn it around better and like not be lazy all of a sudden, then great.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. But you don't have to. It can be that simple. You can accept where you're at, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way it will work. I can try to make it work. That was a little more boring. Um,
There's no, it can work. Everything can work. I
yeah,
mean, so
I
like
know
just
that one
try.
was bad.
Yeah.
That was not a good one. Um, it's too radical a change. Let's take a chance. Um, no one bothers to communicate with me. I'll see if I can open the channels of communication.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a
Yeah.
big one. A lot of people like think that people like,
Well, it comes back to that isolation.
yeah, and like I just in general, like people don't honestly realize that relationships are totally two-way roads. Like a lot of
Well,
people
you
who
get
feel
stuck
like,
in that viewpoint where it's like, oh, well, they didn't reach out, so I'm not going to reach out, and they're not thinking about me, and then you start that channel, that mind channel, and then that person's like, well, this bitch hasn't reached out either. Where is she been? And then y'all are feeding this
exactly.
negative brain channel of unspoken wavelengths to one another.
Yeah. And I will say like I'm very conscious of this one right now, actually, just because of like friend things. But like this is one that like has gotten me in the past. And like a thing
Mm-hmm.
that I really would think like, I'm not like, why aren't they hitting me up? Or like I'd go to the bar with like someone, and then like some of my
Mm-hmm.
other friends would be there and I'd be like, nobody texted me, like what the hell?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, in this mindset of like, why is nobody hitting me up? Why is nobody like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like, why, blah, blah, blah. And then I will look at the texts and be like, when was the last time, dead serious, when was the last time that I texted them proactively and said, hey, do you
How
want to
are
go meet at the
you?
bar? Why am I always expecting the invite? Why am
Mm-hmm.
I not? I'll say, how are you? I'll check in, I'll do all these
Yeah.
things, but then the actual, hey, let's hang,
Yeah.
that I've literally caught myself, and that's a hard thing to admit. And I've actually
Mm-hmm.
challenged a couple of clients of mine too to do the same thing. It's like it for me was so bad to the point that I scroll through my texts. I cannot find the last time that I physically said,
Hey,
let's
yeah,
go out. Like, you
meet
want to go to
me.
this bar?
Yeah.
Or like weirdly, I noticed that I would have like passive ways of saying it, like, and not consciously. Like I had to become conscious of the fact that this was happening. Where I would say like, "Are you going out tonight?"
Yeah.
Like that's what I would say, and it was like in earnest. But then I can't be mad that I'm not getting an invite. It's
Yeah.
not, and again, don't take it personal. Personalization. It's not personal. It doesn't mean they hate me or whatever, right? It's just like they could
Well,
easily
then
just be thinking the same
and
thing.
the way that question, the way it's phrased, it's like there's not a way to elaborate. Are you going to? Yes. Like
Yeah.
there's not, like instead of,
Well,
hey, do you want to meet up?
but then I've noticed like how good I felt when the response typically, if they are going out, is yeah, like gonna go out at this time, want me to pick you up, or yeah, going out at this time, like meet there, or like you want to go, like there's
Mhm.
still this element of me, I guess, that like just for I don't know where that comes from. I
Well,
don't.
you know what? Actually, I know exactly. Because you and I are both manifestors in human design, so we have to initiate. So,
Yeah.
so that is we had so, and another episode coming out, but that's why. So we are the ones that have to initiate. Hence why my business's name is the Megan Lund Initiative. I directly took that from human design because I initiate your best self.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I did not know that actually. Learn
Yeah.
something new about you every day. Okay, then the final one that I have here is I'm not going to get any better at this, and then I'll give it another try. Whatever. What are like some that you do? Because I know you do this all the time. All the
Oh,
time you're flipping a sentence around that I say, that someone else
all
says, that whatever. You do it all the time. What are like a couple that you can like think of if you can? I know it's like weird
like
on the
on
spot
the
like this.
daily, so when I'm like trying something new, like I sometimes I'll experience anxiety. So it's like I can do this. So for instance, I had a brutal workout this morning. And I was up at 3:30 to get everything done. So initially, who wants to wake up at 3:30 in the morning? I mean, so I was like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And instead of like, oh, I have to, I was like, I get to wake up at 3:30 in the
Yeah.
morning and I get to train and I get to move my body. And then I started to get hyped. Like I was ready. So I was stoked to go to bed early. I was stoked, and it set that day. The dentist this morning, I love my dentist too. I have the world's gentlest hygienist. I mean, just everything about it. But no one wants to go to the dentist. But I was like, I'm fucking stoked. I get to see these people. And from Catherine and Lisa in reception to my hygienist to my dentist, it's a lovely experience. And I had a great time. But up until it was like, oh, I gotta get, like the drills. And no, I was like, I'm so excited. I'm gonna have my teeth. Yay. So, so just by saying, I'm so excited, it frames your brain in a completely different realm. These workouts this morning, I had to do 40 plank shoulder taps and then 40 shoulder or plank hip dips. Every moment my body was like, nay, no. And that was at the end of this workout. But I was like, yes, I get to do this. I'm so excited. Now, was I excited in that moment? No, but did it help me finish it? Yes. And then completion of attacks, release dopamine.
Yeah, for sure. For
Literally
sure.
that
No,
simple. That simple. I'm
it
so
is.
excited.
It is like not even like going to the point of like the fact that you talking about 40 plank dips or whatever just might as well have been you talking about sports to me. Like, not even gonna go
Go
there.
sports.
What does that mean? Go sports. Glad you won the game, Megan,
Yeah. Woo.
today. With your
Won the game, my court
competition.
game. Yeah.
I'm your yeah, my court. It was competitive.
Yeah.
My
So.
workout today was competitive. um, and I think like an interesting thing too, like because sometimes we oversimplify a little bit of this, like where I love the like right, like it's not that I have to, I get to. I think that's one
Mm-hmm.
of like the big ones too that like I use, but like that's a hard one, like especially waking up. Like I still have not gotten into that habit of just proactively saying positive things when I wake up. And I think I just need to find a better routine or a reminder of some sort that's going to actually put like get me to do it. But
Yeah.
it just reminded me that the whole like, oh, like instead of saying I don't want to wake up, just it's hard to be like I get to wake up and truly feeling that or anything where you're trying to spin like something like that around. Like I get to do this. It's not because I think we focus too much on the word. Like I'm flipping the word around. I'm flipping the
Mm-hmm.
sentence around. And for me, I have to like focus on the whole like it's not like, oh, I have to work out today, that thing, right? It's like I get to work out, but really think about what that means. It's a one word change. Don't focus on the word. Instead, focus on like the getting. Like, what does that even mean? You get to
Mm-hmm.
what? So in what world would you not get to? Like that, not
If
to
you're
say like I don't love being
injured,
in a world of comparison. Right.
sick,
Yes. Which
like
means,
in a land where, yeah. So, and I was injured and sick where I
yes,
was, so it's like every time that I'm in a challenging situation, instead of like, oh, this is hard. Yeah, it's hard. But also look at this growth, so,
yes,
and it's just, whew. And then I remember someone out there would love to have my problems, which is toxic positivity, but it's true. Somebody would love to have my problems. And then when I put it like that, it's like I can come through anything. And I have this position that I'm in, and I'm gonna make it happen. And what, like, and
yes.
I'm just gonna try. And then all of a sudden, and then I started to hype myself up. I'm like, I'm the baddest motherfucker of all time. And then I get so excited where I'm envisioning where our podcast studio is going to be and what it's like when we get X, Y, and Z and what this is going to do. And it's just like, it sets the tone for my day where then I come into this where it's like, oh man, we recorded twice. That's a lot. It's like, fuck no, it's a privilege. I got a fancy microphone. I'm in here, like I'm an entrepreneur. I have the time that at 12 o'clock on a Thursday, I can be here talking with you. What a gift. And it just keeps going.
Dude, I know it literally, you can just keep going.
I just hype myself up all day. And then when I'm having a gnarly spot, I'm like, all right, so what's happening? What needs are not being met? What could I do better? That's where I'm at the end of the day. What did I do well and where could I do better?
I love that. And you're literally recognizing it, like what needs are not being met, but then not framing it as I need to do that now. I need to get this done.
Well, and then the adjustments start happening in real time. And that's cool because then the shift happens.
Dude.
You might have that automatic thought, but then your brain automatically readjusts. And that's where it's like, oh my God, I could fly.
And it's amazing. Yes. And there is like nothing like obviously being able to do it for yourself, right? Like that is, I think, the goal for everybody, right? Like to be able to make this happen for yourself. But they have now witnessed twice in this. I forget even what the examples were. I'll find it when I go back through this, but like where you literally spun two negatives around into a positive for me, meaning like sometimes you need other people. And that's why the people you surround yourself with are important.
So important.
I was going to have continued to view like that old man, right? In a negative way. Now it will always be in my head that maybe he wasn't looking at me in a negative way. Maybe he was closeted and had been with that old lady across the table from him for the last 50 years of his life.
And you see him freedom and he's jealous.
That's he's like, I'll never have that.
Yeah. He's like,
who knows?
I'm going to live. Yeah, exactly.
I get to sit here and proudly express myself the way that I want to while I know now that maybe he can't or doesn't feel like he hasn't been able to, you know, like what, but I needed you, another positive person, another TPer, Club TP, to turn that thought around for me. But it really can happen that quickly. It's beautiful, beautiful thing. I think like, what's the other one? The whole like, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. That one's a big one that I like was one of my first.
I also like to think, I heard this past, or I spoke about this at the retreat this past weekend. It's how do I want to experience this? And then it takes the lens of judgment. So it's like, how do I want to experience my relationships? How do I want to experience this podcast? How do I want to experience this day? And it's amazing.
It is. Dude, that's so good. That's so good. It reminds me of like, have you seen the chick on, I think, TikTok, where she just like screams affirmations?
Yes.
She's like, you are gonna have the best day in the world. And she's like, it's just so funny. She went kind of viral, but it reminds me of like one of my really good friends from Illinois who like I think her and her husband, unless I'm misremembering this, but like I think they had literal like road rage issues and they were like tired of like being angry while driving. I totally get it. And Shauna, I know you feel me because we're bonding over our road rage. And I even worked on my road rage in a different way, but I love theirs because they wanted to get the anger out. They wanted to express it, all of that, right? So they would literally like yell, I love you, like to people, like that. While mad.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is absolute forced positivity, but they knew that it wasn't doing anything good for them to be in the negative mindset and to actually be pairing the words with the emotions. This way they get the emotions out.
Well, and anger has passion. Anger is a secondary emotion, but like there's passion behind it. I have done some of my best work by like, oh, you want to doubt me? Let's go. So I took that negative emotion of anger and it was like, all right, watch this. I'm going to fuck everyone up in the best way. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm capable of. Instead of tearing them down, watch what I can do. And I mean, I've done some great things with anger.
Yes. Yes. I recognize it's not always easy to literally go from like extreme negative to then just flip it around to extreme positive, right?
This has also been a practice. This is something I do daily. I teach it. So if you're trying to do this and you're beating yourself up, know that I do think that I was born with a sunny disposition, and my mom and dad told me every day I could. They literally trained my brain to be this way, and we'll talk about that later. But
that's cool.
It is, and there's a reason why. And my dad's always been very committed to like personal development, but my mom every day 1 to 7 was like, "You can do anything you want to," and it's because I was diagnosed with this rare condition when I was a kid. I've been written up in the New England Medical Journal as a miracle. Because people who have this condition, they've got serious health issues, serious cognitive issues. I have none of that. And they never told me I had it. I knew I went to these doctor's appointments. It's true. So my mom every day was like, "You're amazing. You can do." And she was 21. There was no Google. She wrote away to some sort of, I don't want to say coalition, but it was to get information. And I literally found the pamphlet, and to paraphrase, but it was like, your baby, and it said some pretty disparaging, negative things that a medical organization shouldn't be sending out to a 21-year-old mother. Like, your life is really going to be ruined for forever. I mean, my mom was terrified. So I really credit that for why I just have this disposition.
Yeah, I think conditioning is so, of course, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like, I would like to believe, I think, like, I was probably like a happy baby and whatever. And then I think, like, but for me, it was probably like an opposite thing where life just hardens you as you age.
It
and
does.
then, like, I had to move back into things and whatever. That's all good and fine. I love everything you just said, too, because it's literally also something Dr. Tara Swart has here is like, if you tend to have a negative outlook, don't expect to become an optimist overnight. But with practice, eventually your self-talk will contain less self-criticism and more self-acceptance. And then you will notice also that you're less critical of the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like a funny like manifestation, just to also say, like, you don't have to go 0 to 100. Don't expect it. It's fine. It's like, if you can, amazing, but like, don't expect it. And I think a funny just manifestation of that is how, like, I don't know where this got started, but how everybody's starting to say like, I hope you have the day you deserve. Like, when somebody like treats you dirty like that, I'm like, that's not positive, right? Like, what they're kind of saying, but they're choosing to not say fuck you. I hope you have the day you deserve. It's a couple levels up from fuck you, but it's not this like
improvement. I could take
it's not like my friend in Illinois like yelling like,
but it's like the day that I deserve. But what if I think that I deserve a great day every day? So then I'm gonna have that day, and you just bless me. Thank you.
And you just bless, and that means it's coming back to you tenfold, right?
Thank you.
Final little thing here for you is because I wanted to start this eventually. And honestly, we'll do it with the next month's astrology forecast. At least doing it every month here. I think this is a good thing to get our listeners in the habit of. Positive affirmations. I love affirmations, but I know you have like tons.
So many.
Like, you cycle through a lot. I know we already said
everything's always working out for me.
Everything is always working out for me.
I'm blessed. I'm favored. I'm fortunate. Like, I truly, I'm loved. I'm chosen. I'm a priority. I'm amazing. I'm smart. I'm talented. I'm great. I am as a direct concept. Money is the flow into me. I'm a money magnet. I'm abundant. I'm grateful. I mean, I could just go.
I know. Okay, but let's like the purpose of this exercise is not to just like rattle them off, like choose your own adventure here, but like more so like the collective thought behind it, right? Like, I think it's like why like Christians believe in the power of like collective prayer, why you ask people to pray for you at a church or whatever. So it's like, to anybody listening still, I think, like, what's the affirmation that we can now focus on until the next episode?
For the group, I just really like everything's working out for me because it's so encompassing.
We'll start with that one.
Yeah,
I know it's my favorite too. I know. But then let's like start getting like interesting.
So you want an affirmation for every positive, or for every like I think a good one.
No,
especially I'm enough for everyone.
I'm enough. Cool. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like my initial idea was like with the astrology episodes, like, cause I'll like look at like what themes we should focus on. And then I know you're going to like bring it down to like earth for everybody. And so like I think once you like know the like astrology themes,
Oh, I compare it. I
you'll
love
be able
that.
to craft an
Yes.
affirmation, right? For the
Perfect.
month at
Magic.
that point.
I love
right?
it. Affirmation of the month.
And
Perfect.
yeah. I think if people are digging it, we can do one like every fucking episode or
Yeah.
whatever. But like I just think it's a good thing to like kind of craft our own, and then we're like generating this like cool little toxic positivity bubble
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
I love it. So that's it. Okay, so we're gonna say I am enough, and
Yeah, I'm
as
enough.
always, everything's always working out for me. And you.
Everything's always working out with me. I matter. I'm special. I'm talented. I mean, like whatever resonates, pick one.
Yeah.
But none of this, like nothing negative, because once again, I am is a direct command to your subconscious, and we're trying to retrain that magical bitch.
I would say, especially if you have heavy Aries placements, because I am is the Aries mantra for anybody out there with a lot of Aries.
Oh, sweet. So I got that in Venus and Mars. So no wonder I'm like an I am machine.
Yeah. I have no Aries. So like, it's funny because like a lot of the I am statements tend to not be my most.
So to that, you could be like, why am I so amazing? Why am I so
love
talented?
this. Well, no, let's bring up the questioning thing in another one.
Yeah,
that's like my hack. I love that hack. I love that.
Why? Well, guys, this has been remember, pumpkin pie is the code word. And I this has been one of my favorite episodes.
This has been so fun, and honestly, it was very long. We might actually be splitting this into two, so we might have a part 2 and part 3
part 2 and part 3,
just so it's not a 2-hour long one.
Like can't. Well,
but same day we might drop 2 and 3. Why not?
I love it.
I literally think we will. And just for like a random shits and giggles, in case anybody like, I'll try and put as much as I can in the show notes to like whatever. Email me if you really need something, but like no, truly, please, like I'll do it.
Yeah.
But there are these 2 interesting other places that I'd like to point you to, just as general good, like cool resources that I found. One is the Greater Good Science Center
in Berkeley, California.
Literally, I love it. I had never heard of it before. You knew it?
No, I knew it when you told me. I just love that Berkeley's just, like you think about Berkeley, you think about hippies in the at least 60s. And I'm like, hell yeah, they would be there. Some dude was like, we're going to do the happiness. This is where we do happiness right here. And I love it.
I know. I would have thought it would have been like Yale. I mean, Berkeley totally makes sense, but I know Yale's got their like Center for Emotional Intelligence.
But that sounds super Yale-y. Like Berkeley's like, we're going to talk about happiness. Check.
Yeah. And I found out about it through a scientist there who literally studies awe for a living. AWE, the science of
living in awe. Beautiful. I love that. Being in amazement, having curiosity for everything. Like, how did a light bulb, how does a phone cord? I love it. You live in awe.
Yes, that researcher just like put out a book recently. You can find a lot of the awe stuff on just search Greater Good Science Center. Okay. The other one is Action for Happiness, which is an organization that literally seeks to make people happier. So take that, toxic negativity crowd.
Yeah, take that.
I hope you have the day you deserve with that.
I hope you have the day you deserve.
Okay, well, I think that's it for now. Until
next time, dear viewers. We love you. We appreciate you.
Love you.
You are enough. You matter. We fucking love you.
Fucking love you, bitch.
All right.
Term of endearment. Seriously.
It really is. All right. Megan out. Ryan out.
Ryan out. We're out. Goodbye.
Bye.